Do you ever feel like there's not enough time in the day to get everything done? Some weeks get wild. Some weeks get a little bit chaotic. I had a super busy this week, and so in this video, I want to show you how I'm using basically 2 notebooks to stay organized, efficient, and on top of everything, even when life gets busy. So the reason my week got so busy is because my kids moved in with us. And just to clear up some confusion, because someone emailed me and they're like, did you get a divorce? No. And I know that some of you are new to the channel, but for those that have been around for a while, basically my kids have lived with their mom for 5 years and now they're, wanting to live with dad. So that explains that. So they moved in, and the reason the week was so busy is because here is what all we had to do. There was counseling appointments. There was getting my son a haircut because he's got to have that textured fringe. We had to go to the doctor and get physicals for sports. Had to do school enrollment. My daughter just turned 16, so we had to get her driver's license. I had to do my budget. We had to go to Sam's Club. Took my daughter to youth camp. We went camping. We opened her a checking account. I rode e-bikes with my son. And then at the end of the day, I still have to work on YouTube, emails, all the daily tasks. Do my daily Bible study. And not forget to try the new Bluebell flavor that came out yesterday, which was meh. So the system I use to stay on top of everything is 2 notebooks. This is a field notes. I'll show you these here in just a second. This is a Leuchtturm1917 A5. And then I just put leather covers on them. So in my A5, what I do to stay organized and consistent is I have a calendar. And on this calendar, I have things that are going on. And then over here on the side, I have bills that are due, so I can cross them out once I pay them and put them on the calendar. And then I have little reminders for the month over here. Then basically in the middle, I've got where I put all my, just daily journaling, thoughts, Godversations that I've talked about in the past. Where the pocket notebook comes in is this is just kind of your quick go-to. And I've made a bunch of videos showing different setups. On one page, it has a weekly section where there's a part for each day. You can put tasks on there. There's habit trackers. And then I kind of leave a blank page just to put random notes throughout the week. But by doing this system, it allowed me to stay on top of everything, even though we had a million things going on. Every day, it felt like there wasn't enough time to get it all done. But all throughout the day, I can whip open the pocket notebook and say, okay, what do I have left to do today? Check it off. And because I've got the little habit tracker in there, I can be like, oh yeah, I need to take my vitamins today, or, I need to read today. And then as you go throughout your day, inevitably there's going to be things coming up into your mind that you're like, oh yeah, I need to do this, or I need to call, so-and-so. And so on the blank page, you can make a quick note about it, or you can just put it on the calendar. Or I'm like planning for my son's upcoming birthday. And so you can make a quick note on the calendar. If you're interested in setting up a system like this, I'll put a link below for a free guide that just kind of shows you how to set up a journal. Because here's what is nice is I like using analog pen and paper. I don't like using my iPhone to try and manage tasks or calendars because to me it's just clunky. There's just something about writing with pen and paper that keeps you grounded. It's also better for your brain to process things by writing them out rather than, typing them out. And I've got little courses. If you want to go deeper, I've got one that shows this full system. I've got one called Bible Life OS that helps you with Bible study and Bible journaling. And I've got a new one that I just made called the Analog Reset that kind of helps you shift away from being distracted in your phone and into using a notebook. But what I find is that when I start my day, which I do, in my quiet time, I look at my calendar, I do some journaling, I read my Bible in the morning, I pray, and I'm just kind of like journaling, what's going on today. I'm not putting a ton in there usually, I'm just kind of like writing highlights. So like my daughter getting her license, that was a big deal. Or something that I experienced with my wife or my son, I'll write it in here. But also as I'm talking to God and he's, revealing things to me, I'll do that. And the reason it's important for you to write those important things down is so that you have a record that you can go back and review. The whole purpose behind this channel has been basically faith-based personal development, spiritual growth, and intentional consistency, being intentional about what you do. And notebooks play a big part of that. These are my main go-tos, but I use other ones too, like, this little moleskin soft cover. I'll put video notes for these videos that I record. Sorry, my phone started shaking. I had to adjust it. I got this new iPhone 17 Pro, which I don't really see much difference between it and the 13 that I had, but the camera is better, so I'm using it for filming. But what I was saying is, at the end of the day, like, these are my main go-to. This is my planner journal notebook, and this is my kind of catch-all, shows a week at a glance pocket notebook. I like using field notes for this and the little leather cover, and I can put some links below for those too, but you may find that you also have little, what I call like project notebooks, where you have a little notebook. I keep this one for YouTube video, just notes and stuff. But writing things down for me has been huge in my life. And if you're watching this video, you're probably drawn to notebooks. You like notebooks, you saw the thumbnail, you clicked it. You're like, what's this guy about? So just to let you know kind of how I started using notebooks is years ago, I used to have a real problem with alcohol, and I got sober and I wanted to stay intentionally consistent. And so I found that using a structured method in a notebook really helped my mind stay organized. It helped me stay efficient. I mean, I'm already kind of like OCD with things, but it gave me a good avenue to be creative. I come up with different layouts, which I make videos about. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed and you like things like notebooks, journaling, the Bible, the topic of consistency, hit subscribe. I think it's like 80% of people that watch the videos haven't subscribed yet. So the channel's growing, and we're building a neat online community for like-minded individuals to talk about these things. And I love it when y'all make comments or send me the email. So a guy named Max emailed me and he's like, dude, did you get a divorce? And I was like, no. The kids have lived with their mom for the last 5 years. And here's a cool God story. So for the last couple years, my kids have been wanting to move here and live with us. So I just started praying about it. And I was like, God, if that's your will and they're supposed to be here and live with us, I put this in your hands. I trust you. And this is even something I wrote about in my journal for the last 2 years. So I didn't even have to do any convincing, any leg pulling, nothing. God took care of it all. And now my kids are living here. My name's Carsonial, by the way, and I make these videos to help you use simple systems to become consistent in your life, your work, and your faith. I'm 44 years old at the time of this recording, and I've got a daughter who just turned 16, and I've got a son who is 12, but in a couple weeks will be 13. I am married, and my wife actually stays at home to watch our grandbaby because I have a stepdaughter who's 24. So going back to the notebooks, like I said, when I got sober, it helped me kind of stay grounded. But even now, during a chaotic, busy week, in the morning, I start with it. At the end of the day, I end with it. During the day, I have something that I can get things out of my mind and onto the paper. So this idea of intentional consistency, basically what I came up with was the SHARKS method. And SHARKS is just an acronym that stands for spiritual, health, accountability, reading, keep a journal, and structure. And this was just something that I created for myself to help myself stay consistent in the things I want to stay consistent on, the most important things. Now, has it been perfect? Absolutely not. This week, I have not been to the gym one time. I have not been able to check the little box. I'll even show you. I have not been able to check the box that says gym on my habit tracker. So things like life happens. Things are going to happen. But what's important is just to have yourself a system so that you can stay consistent in the things that matter the most to you, to make sure that you're getting things done. Reminders, I got to call the doctor and make an appointment for my son. But basically what the SHARKS method does is it kind of hits every area of your life. So if things begin to feel off, or you're just trying to stay consistent, you start with spiritual. This is the most important. This is the place we start, is something off spiritually. Then you move to health. Well, if I'm feeling off, am I eating like crap? Am I eating nothing but Bluebell? Am I exercising? Am I drinking enough water? Which I drink a ton of water. I don't really struggle with that. I know some people do, but I've always got this Yeti full of ice water. But it's a reminder like, okay, is something going on with my health? Have I taken my vitamins today? Then we move to accountability. Accountability, well, for one, when you're using a notebook or a journal, you're keeping accountable to yourself. But if you're feeling off, you may also have to ask yourself, do I have someone I can talk to? Do I have an accountability partner? Like I've got a couple guys that I usually meet with weekly to just kind of vent to iron sharpens iron, right? So that's what's happening with accountability. With reading the Orange Sharks, that's just a reminder to read my Bible daily, and then I try and read a chapter of a book or a book a month, some kind of reading plan. K, obviously keep a journal, which has been huge in my life. And I know it would be huge in your life too. Jim Rohn, who is like one of the original personal development guys, used to talk a lot about his journal. And the way he explained it is like, there's a reason I spend $20 on a blank book. And he said the reason behind that is to put things in it that are worth more than $20. Like if you can hear his voice. But I can tell you, having journaled for years now, that I do one of these A5s per year. So like I just write the year. I don't know if you can see that, but I write the year on the bottom right there, and I fill it up. And at the end of the year, I go all the way back through it. And it becomes a record of your progress, a record of your growth, a record of your mistakes. There's plenty of mistakes, chock full of mistakes in my journal that I've made that I'm now learning from. And he also talks about how, your journals you can pass down to your kids. And I've told my kids that, like when I die, what's the most valuable thing that you could have from me? And, they're like, oh, your house or your car. And I'm like, no, it's actually my journals and my books. Those are the most valuable things. If you took my Bibles, you saw my notes, you took my books and you read them and you read through what I've learned in my life in the last 44 years, like that's what is most valuable. So that's why it's so important to keep a journal, not to even mention or get into the neuroscience behind how it helps your brain to write with pen and paper and not rely on digital. I have companies reaching out to me wanting to send me these AI things or digital notebooks, and I'm just like, no, like I focus on analog. There's a reason that I'm not including technology. Now, do we have to use technology? Yes. I use my MacBook daily. I use my iPhone daily. You can't escape it. You got to have it to do stuff. But when you want to be alone with your thoughts, sitting down, I usually go to a coffee shop or here in my office and just opening it up. I play like some instrumental music and just spend some time writing in my journal, filling it up. You can make little doodles. You can draw diagrams. You can do brain dumps. You can process all the things that are going on in your mind on the paper. So that's the K in Sharks. And finally, the S in Sharks stands for structure. And the reason I'm covering this is because we've had a lot of new subscribers to the channel. Thank y'all. Glad to have you here with us. And the new viewers may not have heard yet about the Sharks method. So the final S in Sharks is structure. And structure is basically having yourself a plan in place to... My dang camera fell off the gimbal again. It's the only bad thing about recording with this. But the structure, basically getting back to it, is for me like having a morning routine. Waking up, spending some time in my Bible, prayer, journal, before the day gets crazy, before the day gets wild. It's just, structure is just having a plan to set yourself up for success. Because as the old saying goes, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So that's why I create the videos that I do, is coming up with simple systems that help you stay intentionally consistent. And I try and approach this from a faith-based perspective, point of view. Make sure you grab the free journaling guides with the link below. There's one on pocket notebooks. There's one on Bible journaling. You can check it out. And again, if you're interested in going a little deeper, you can check out those 3 courses And what I say at the end of all my videos is to make a change, or tomorrow will look like today.